Hi, I'm Dr. Pat Buchanan, and I'm here to share a mindful movement break with you. This movement break is designed with musicians in mind, but it's also great for anyone who spends a lot of time working with their hands, working with their arms, or sitting and doing work at a computer, or craft work, or working with tools, anything where you tend to build up a lot of tension in your arms. And as a result of building up that tension in your arms, you create a lot of tension throughout your whole being. So this movement break will help you be more attentive to yourself, give some loving attention to you and how you're feeling, and bring some more ease into your life by being more aware of what you're feeling, what you're thinking about, what you're sensing in yourself, and how you do the movements of this movement break, and also inspire you to think about how you're doing your movements throughout your day. So I encourage you to join me, do the movements in a way that is appropriate to you, is comfortable for you. We're on video, so I know you're going to be watching how I'm doing the movements, but that's how I do the movements. Be attentive to my words and follow along with me and find a way that makes sense for you, that brings you ease and comfort. This movement series is a very gentle movement series, and even so, I remind you or invite you to do the movements within your comfortable range and to seek out ease and not explore how hard you can do this. We spend much of our lives figuring out how hard we can work, how much we can push ourselves and ignoring pain. This is about finding ease and comfort, all right? And you might find some pleasant changes occur in your breathing and your sense of how calm you feel, how steady you feel by doing this. All right. So this movement sequence reminds me a bit of, you've seen those toy cranes? Some restaurants have them, or game arcades have them, where you've got the crane hand, and you want to get that stuffed toy or that monster truck or whatever. So you put your money in and you try to steer the crane over, and you open up wide and you reach down, and then you pick it up, and hope it stays in the crane until you get back over to the hole where you drop it down. It's a little bit like that, but much more refined. Okay. So the movement begins with this motion of bringing the fingertips together and then coming up and then opening, keeping the hands and fingers open till you come back down to your thigh. If you're doing this in sitting, you can also easily do this lying down or standing, any position really. And open. Bring the fingertips together in this soft, gentle claw hand. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see the shape from a different perspective. And open, keep that open position so your wrist will come back down before your fingers, and then you draw the fingertips together and come up, keeping your shoulders soft, your elbows soft, your jaw soft, your gaze soft. How much softness can you bring to this movement? And maybe you, like me, have started with my right hand, which is my preferred hand, my dominant hand for many tasks. But after you go through this with one hand, make sure you do it with the other hand. You might not take the time in this video to do both hands, but doing one hand and then pausing, taking a moment to notice the different sensations in one side versus the other is a great way to help you learning. Okay, so we started off by doing all the fingertips coming together. Like you were one of those crane toys, or you were pulling up a bunch of sand, imagining lying on the beach and pulling up a handful of sand, or sitting in a field and playing with the grass. Now, let's change it so that bring the thumb and one finger together. So start with the thumb and the index finger, and the other fingers can stay soft. Almost like you were pulling a thread or a little snag in the clothing. But noticing, can you do it in a way that the rest of your hand, the other fingers, are soft, or do you tend to hold them out and stiff as well? How little effort can you use to do this movement? And after you've done it a few times with the thumb and the index finger, now change over to the long finger. Again, appreciate your ability to pair just two fingers together and to let the others rest. Or do you notice one's wanting to do work that's not needed to do the bigger movement of the rest of the hand and the wrists and the forearm? So just the thumb and the long finger, let the others relax as best you can. And now the thumb and the ring finger. Again, where can you find more ease? The two fingertips come together and open, going back down. Lifting, open. And now the little finger and the thumb. Little finger and the thumb. Are you holding the others out, or can they be soft, particularly during the lifting? They don't need to do anything. They're just coming along for the ride. And then the whole hand opens. You go down again and bring the little finger and the thumb together. And then open. Little finger and thumb together. And open. And rest. So I would invite you to do a similar movement on the other side. But I want to show you a couple of more activities you can do with this movement. So when you're working with this playing with this, exploring this on your own, you can have these variations to play with. So I invite you to do the movements on one side and then do the movements on the other side. And then see what it's like to do the movements with both arms together. So we can start with the movement of bringing all the fingers together, lifting and opening. And notice, what do you want to do with your breathing? I'm going to turn sideways again so you can just see. It almost becomes a sort of a circular movement. And as I get into the movement and I bring some more ease into it, I find I want to bring more parts of myself into the movement. Can you find ways to bring a little bit more of your whole self into the movement? You might notice a little more of a, kind of like a wave-like motion that happens in your arms and in your upper body, your eyes, your head, your neck. This doesn't mean you need to create a big wave. Okay? All of that. That's one way to do the movement. You may find yourself heading in that direction. I'm not saying that's what needs to be done. I'm just inviting you to notice as you become softer and you use your arms and your hands and you invite more of yourself into it. If you want to let the movement grow, what are some naturally occurring movements that want to happen? So maybe there is a bit of this upward and then forward, more larger, more of yourself circling movement. It starts to happen with ease. Or it can just be a simple movement of the hand and the fingers coming together. And again, you could do the individual pairs of fingers together, the thumb and index, thumb and long finger. If few times, the thumb and the long finger, ring finger together a few times, the thumb and the index, or the little finger. You could be doing, if you want to get really creative and explore, you could do various combinations of one finger and the other. Lots you can explore. You can also play with one hand coming up while the other is going down. So it's almost like a little cycling movement. And as the movement softens and you invite more of yourself into it, you may notice you are actually using more of your upper body and your shoulders to do the movement, and it becomes a larger movement. And you can pause and now see what it's like to actually do the movement in the other direction, where now instead of lifting, you're kind of brushing off your pants. Brushing your thighs. Do it together. Opening, folding, opening, folding, opening. And then come back to the original movement. Fingertips together, open. Fingertips together, open. Some people have told me they find this a great way to help them go to sleep at night if they're having a little difficulty, if they're feeling kind of tense or a little agitated. They can use this to calm themselves down, as well as just creating some nice ease in the hands and the arms and throughout the whole self. Thanks for joining me, and continue to enjoy your mindful movement.